Hi, good morning, everybody. This is a webinar to talk about MicroPoP, their latest and greatest hardware that we're introducing for the 450 platform. Um, just to give you a little bit of background on the 450 itself, it is our flagship point-to-multipoint product. Most of you on the call, I assume, will be familiar with the platform, but in case you're not, it's our biggest scalable, most advanced radio design in the company. It's capable of over 1 gig per sector using the Medusa product. It continually evolves because it is based on a software-defined radio system. Everything's built on an FPGA. This came out of the Canopy line of products, the PMP 100 product line that started many, many years ago with Motorola. And since then, obviously, we've evolved and continuously evolved, bringing this ever forward towards the latest and greatest technology, radio design, all the kinds of things. And really, it helps improve capacity without leaving behind that hardware that's in the field. So we've been able to support many, many previous generations of hardware, and we'll continue to support everything in that 450 family for as long as it makes sense to do so. Spectral efficiency is probably the highest in the industry that I know of. We certainly talk about things like spectral efficiency because spectrum is hard to find. And with the 5 gig band being very, very full, it's that taking advantage of what you have available to you is probably the most beneficial thing that you can do as a network operator. And so with the Medusa product and the other products that we have in the 450 platform, we're at the high end of Shannon's law, if you will, as far as efficiency. And with the multi-user MIMO capabilities that Medusa brings to the platform, we certainly can provide the best spectral efficiency that's out there. And that's a great, great thing for you to use with your network. It is based on OFDM MIMO and works really well line of sight. Works less so in near line of sight situations. And with the 5 gigahertz band, you're not going to do non-line of sight. And the MicroPoP today we're introducing in the 5 gigahertz band, the unlicensed band. Again, software defined to allow us to do lots of really cool things with the product as we move forward in time and learn new things and develop new software for it. GPS synchronization is the kind of the hallmark of the platform, which allows us to minimize self-interference, minimize interference from other radios within the system because everything's talking and listening at the same points in time. And it also leads to very, very low latency. Typical application or use case is a very simple flat architecture with a base station that has access points or sectors that talk wirelessly to those subscriber modules that are mounted on the customer premise. That's it. Very, very simple. We can expand that, functionality by adding CN Pilot indoors. We can also now, with the MicroPoP, replace that access point at the base station site and put it at a lower site if you want to get under a group of trees, have a locally fed access point that can do a few homes. Now we can put that MicroPoP on there, and really that's just replacing that access point or sector with a new device. And now we can connect 20 subscribers out to 2 miles and have a very low cost way to connect those last few homes. But otherwise, very, very similar in terms of operational ease of use as the regular access points. So the 450B is the subscriber module, the latest generation subscriber module that I would believe that you'd want to use with this product. We have a mid gain, which is the upper guy, and then the high gain, which is the integrated parabolic reflector dish. And that's these guys have been available for a while now. They're pretty ubiquitous in the space. Most folks who use 450 are now using these devices. They support the entire 5 gig band from 4.9 all the way to 5.925. And I know right now, with the COVID crisis and things that are going on, we've allowed the use of the upper 5 gig 585 to 5895 in some cases where people have special temporary authority to use that upper frequencies that hadn't been granted before. Our product lines support that with if you get that special temporary authority from the FCC, you can certainly support that frequency. We are releasing a connectorized version of the 450B, as well as a connectorized version of the MicroPoP. It'll look like this. It has two RPSMA connectors at the top. It will fit the RF Elements twist port adapter, as well as KP Performance is making some feed horn type of high-performing parabolics that will fit this device as well. So these are slated to come out in Q4, early Q4. And that'll be a nice addition to the platform to kind of complete the gamut from connectorized to mid gain to high gain. Now we have a solution for every need. So that's coming a little bit later. But today, what we're talking about is the MicroPoP Omni and MicroPoP Sector. And so the sector antenna is a 90-degree sector, 3 dB roll-off, or 120-degree 6 dB roll-off, and it's 13 dBi gain. We will have a front to back of actually 28 dB. I'll have the spec sheet for you a little bit later in the webinar today, and that'll be posted as well. But for this, for the purpose of doing these sectors, the sector at 13 dBi gain gives you just about the maximum ERP limit that's allowed by the band anyway, so that you're in really good shape getting out to 2 miles with very high modulation. The Omni is a 9 dB gain, and with the 25 dBi dBm, transmit power that's available, you're approaching that limit in an Omni scenario as well. So that Omni covers 360, very nice flat pattern around all of it. Major difference between this and the 450B, I want to point out, is the power. The PoE is actually utilizing here 802.3 AF. So it is standards based, meaning it's 802.3 AF compatible. It doesn't require, it's not actually certified 802.3 AF, but it's powered by the same form factor. So you can use a switch that provides PoE out and utilize that pretty easily with this device. I do want to point out a couple other things. There is a push button reset. It's a physical button rather than a default plug or anything like that, or a software method. There's an actual button on the back, and it needs to be held to default the radio and reboot. It does have integrated GPS, and we will be testing that out with the beta testers that are doing beta testing right now. It also works with CN Pulse, where the GPS may or may not have access to the sky or have the right signal strength for where you're located. So you can use the CN Pulse device as an inline device to provide GPS to it where the embedded GPS may not work. It is limited. The big difference between this product and the full-blown APs is that this is limited to 2 miles of range and 20 subscriber modules. You can purchase a license key to remove that limitation, and there, if you apply that license key, in effect, it's as good or as every bit as performing as the full-blown access point. You may notice that the cost of this product is about 3 times less. It's about 1/3 of the cost of a regular AP. And we're doing that in order to make this product viable where perhaps the full-blown AP doesn't make economic sense to deploy. And we're going to start shipping them next month. We're excited, in August. We're excited to get this out. We got a few more things to button up on the design, but it's pretty much ready to go. And we've launch this to the channel, meaning we can now take orders for this product. They have all the part numbers. I'll share that with you at the end. But the distribution channel and the VARs, they all have the information in order to take orders for this product now. So feel free to get in line and get your orders in, and then shipments will be coming out mid-August. A little bit about the use cases. Typically, we see a high site somewhere in the town that you're trying to cover. And you have various sectors, and that's represented by those yellow and blue ice cream cone shaped deployment scenarios. And the coverage is such that you can get to those guys. Now there may be a neighborhood such as the one in the upper right hand corner where you just can't reach with the products you have today. So maybe you put up a point-to-point link from your point of presence, the orange dot. And then you can put a couple of sectors to cover those maybe 40 or 50 homes that are in an area where you can't quite reach with your high site, your macro site. Or you have maybe 10 homes, like in the bottom right-hand corner. where maybe it's behind a stand of trees that you can't quite reach. So if you can get the internet to that point, you put an Omni over there, and at a very low cost, you can service those 10 homes by having a pole. You can even put that Omni on a light pole or a small pole or even a home. We have several operators that utilize a customer home. Maybe they give them free internet and they can be a hub home if they call it that, and service that local area with the MicroPoP. So there's a lot of different use cases that are very easy to deploy and kind of act as a network fill-in to get this product where it needs to be. Here's a couple of views so you get a little bit of an idea of the size and weight of these devices. The pole range in terms of diameter is 1.5 to 3 inches. There's a standoff for the mounting kit, so you can see how far away it is. It does have up and down tilt, so you can manage that as well. LEDs are coming out of the back, and the reset button is also in the back there. Otherwise, it's a very compact, small little guy. It's, maybe about 7 inches tall. But it's a pretty nice guy, little device, and that's the sector. The Omni is a bit taller, but it is small. The radius is about 90 millimeters. Diameter is about 90 millimeters. And again, we have that LEDs coming out of the back along with the reset switch. So it's a very nice, aesthetically pleasing small package. Could fit on a customer home if that's where you choose to deploy it. Pretty simple stuff. Here's a list of the part numbers. You don't have to memorize this, of course, but they are 5 gigahertz unlicensed, which means they're regulated pretty heavily around the world. So there are models specific to your region, meaning, there's an FCC model, there's a Canadian model, there's a European model, and then there's the rest of the world models. So as you can see, they're all the same price, no matter if it's the sector or the Omni, and the unlock key is a single license key that can be purchased for any of those units. As far as accessories that go with it, it's all accessories that exist today. The gigabit surge suppressor is recommended, and the power supply I have listed here is optional. Obviously, if you have a PoE capable output somewhere in your network that you can use for this, you can use that. Otherwise, we offer this power supply at a very low cost. It's a 30 watt, 56 volt power supply that's 8023 AT compatible as well. And then the line cords where you need them. And I think that's about it. I do want to launch a poll real quick to see if anyone's listening or has any opinions. And I will put that now and see if that works. So now I think on your screen, you should be seeing a poll that says, hey, which one do you like? Do you like the Omni? Do you like the sector? I know I didn't leave a choice for both, so I'm making you pick one. But I'm curious as to which one would you like better or have more use for in your network. Thanks for voting. It looks like we have a fair number of folks doing the voting, which is great. And I guess at this point, I'd also like to ask if you have any questions at all. I don't see any in the box so far, but if you do have questions, please feel free to type them in the question box and open that up, and then we'll go ahead and answer those. It's a pretty simple product, pretty simple addition to the platform, and I think a very useful one for filling out that network where you have holes in your network that you just can't justify spending the kind of money that these access points cost. The only question I've seen so far is someone wants to know the results of the poll, which I will be happy to share. I'm waiting for more folks to vote. It looks like there's about 80% of the people have voted so far, which is great. So we're actually neck and neck. It's a lot closer than I thought. I was under the impression, and this is based on my feedback that I've been getting, that the Omni would be kind of a landslide victory as far as what folks want. But it looks like there's a fair number of people that need that sectorized coverage as well. So right now it's looking like 55% or so in favor of the Omni, but that means 45% are in favor of the sector. That's a very interesting data point. Thank you for participating in the vote. I'm going to go ahead and close it now. A couple other questions that have come in, and I'll be happy to answer them as we go here. Let me move this so I'm looking at the camera. Question is this product going to be firmware upgradable to AX or 6 gigahertz? So this product, the 450 product line, is as I mentioned at the beginning, and I know some folks may have joined a little bit late. It's a proprietary, purpose-built, software-defined platform. It is not part of the standards. It is not 802.11. It is not LTE. It will not be AX. As far as whether it will support 6 gigahertz, we're having a lot of debate around that right now. We are working out a plan, and I believe we will work out a plan such that we will have new hardware that's based on 450 platform in 6 gigahertz. Not promising anything, but that's what we're working towards right now. 6 gigahertz is a big deal for North America, for the US, and probably in many other places in the world as well in the near future. But this product specifically is the 5 gigahertz band, 49 to 5925. It covers exactly the same frequency as every other product in the 450 platform. Question is there any plans for MicroPoP in 3 gig in CBRS or 3 gigahertz? Not at this time, but certainly if we have a lot of requests for those sorts of things, we are considering that. It's a fairly easy transition to move from 5 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz. We know how to do it. It would just be really the antenna design that would be the long pull for that. So we are considering that, but there's no plans right now to have a MicroPoP in 3 gig yet. Question is, does Omni and Sector have the same coverage? Essentially, yes. The sector is as we mentioned, a 90-degree sector. It will both of the devices are limited to 2 miles of range unless you apply the unlock key. So 2 miles of range out from that sector or that Omni. And the Omni does cover 2 miles radius without too much issue there. I think I've answered the frequency questions. It says, how is the unit limited to 2 miles? Well, that's in the software. So you set a maximum range in the radio software. That's how you configure it. And when you set a maximum range of 2 miles, then it only goes 2 miles out to look for subscriber modules. So if a subscriber module is beyond 2 miles, it knows that based on the air delay that it's seeing from that subscriber, and it will not connect those subscribers that are beyond 2 miles. Is there any risk to mounting a MicroPoP on the high site in place of a standard 450i? No, absolutely not. So it is, for all intents and purposes, the same platform, the same kind of product. It's just simply configured that way. So if you want to use it in place of a 450i sector, you can. You'd buy the radio, and then you buy the unlock key if you want to go beyond 2 miles or 20 subscriber units. And then it's, for all intents and purposes, the same thing as the 450i sector. Now, a little bit of a caveat is that antenna is a 13 dBi antenna versus a 16 or 17 dBi antenna that comes with the full-blown sector. And the front to back ratio is a little bit less on the MicroPoP. So that's 28 dB isolation versus about 32 or so on the big guy. And that's those are really the only differences. So you can use it in place in a lot of different areas. And once you apply that key, the pricing is pretty close to the same. Does it support AES 256? Good question. Yes, you can apply the same key, the same AES 256 optional key. You can apply that with this product as well to make it AES 256, absolutely. Let's see, how well will this product work in industrial environment, such as any industrial verticals? Yes, it will work the same as it does as the regular 450i access point would work. There's really no difference. It's not, as we would call, hardened. It does not have the dynamic filtering that the 450i has. So if there's a lot of interference in the area, then you may notice a better performance in terms of signal to noise ratio, a little bit better performance from the 450i access point. However, it would work almost just as well in an industrial environment. There's really no reason. It is IP67 environmental protection, so certainly it's every bit as hardened environmentally. Let's see. The ERP limits in most areas of the world, there's a question on ERP limits, but for 5 gigahertz unlicensed, almost everywhere in the world, the ERP limit is 36 in some portion of the band. That is about as high as allowed in most areas of the world. This product will get to around that limit, and you can look at the transmit power and the antenna gains to kind of get an idea for where that goes. But we won't support any power beyond that, I don't think. Let me be clear about there's a couple more questions on the license key itself, the unlock key. So the limitation of this product is 2 miles range, 20 subscribers. That's the only limits we put on the product. That license key removes both of those limits, meaning I can hook up to 238 subscribers and as far as I can reach if I unlock that radio. And that's you're always subject to the regulatory limits of the band in whatever country you're in. So that's I'm not sure if I'm answering the question. There was some question about where I am. Does it matter in terms of what the license key does? The license key simply removes those two limits. User interface and software, everything is exactly the same as all other 450 products. You can see your VAR for the cost of the AES 256 key for sure. That's there. So here's a good question. Does the 2 mile limitation affect sync for other APs set to 10 miles? No. When you set the max range on a given subscriber, or I'm sorry, a given access point, that simply limits how far the SMs connecting to it are going. It does affect the timing, but you can make sure that you're timing properly with the rest of your network, meaning you can sync those guys. And that's the GPS sync will help you do that with the frame calculator. So you can input all of these things into the frame calculator and then certainly make sure that it's all synced and does not step on other ones. Max throughput for the device is exactly the same as any other 2x2 OFDM product, meaning in a 20 meg channel, we're talking about 125 megs or so of aggregate throughput. In a 40 meg channel, about 250 or a little more megs of throughput. So it's the same as 450i access points. Can I integrate with equipment from other vendors? No. Cambium, again, purpose-built solution, software-defined radio, not based on standards. So you're not going to be connecting Wi-Fi stuff to this. You're not going to be connecting LTE stuff to this. 450 is a platform unto itself, and it interoperates only with other 450 devices. Good question about will MicroPoP be available in Link Planner? It already is. It's already in there, so you can go play with Link Planner. It's our tool to help plan links. It's already in the product. We are recording this. I didn't mention this at the beginning. We are recording this webinar, and it will be posted on our website shortly after, hopefully today. Is the product CNUT compatible? CNUT was a tool, our Cambium network upgrade tool that has been around for a long time. It is compatible with that. We continue to support CNUT as we move forward in time, not forever. So get used to using CN Maestro for software upgrades, please. But yes, it is compatible with that today. It is the same exact software. Let's see. All right, I think I've answered all those questions. So thank you for joining today. And if you have further questions, again, it's easy to reach me. You can go to the community forum. We have a lot of available, just post your stuff on there. Engineers look at that forum. I look at that forum all the time. There's tons of people talking on the forum. So community.cambiumnetworks.com. Post your questions there, and we look forward to talking to you again. Thanks a lot for joining. Bye.